And let me see if there's any problem. I give you a little bit of help on how to do all of them. I want to make this screen big, a little bit bigger, then you can see it, right? Okay, so next one. First question. Decide whether the statement is true or false. What you need to do, you just need to plug in the number, the solution, -3, into the equation if the equation is true, if both sides works. For example, if I plug -3 here, so it's -5 times -3, -15, -7, -22, plus that -3 to here, left and right not equal, so it's false for this one. Well, you do yourself. Sometimes true, sometimes false. Just plug the number into the equation. If the equation is true, left and right hand side are equal, then it's true. If not equal, it's false. Okay. This x squared equals 16 and x equals 4 are equivalent equations. Okay. X equals 4 will make x squared of 4 is 16. But you think about it. This is a square. It's a quadratic equation. If you take Math 105 before, you probably know any quadratic equation will have two roots. Sometimes it's two same roots. Sometimes it's two different roots. Okay? Or sometimes have two real roots. Sometimes have two complex roots. It always comes with two roots because this is square. So the square tells you have two roots. If it's the same roots or different roots, you have to figure out yourself. So now it's x squared equals 16. If it's x squared equals 16, you know one of them is 4. You have another one. You figure out yourself. So basically, these two will not be the same equation. You cannot equivalent equations because this one has additional roots. Okay, you figure out what's the other roots yourself. Solve the equation. This is the easy one. Distribute 7 and 3, and 7 times 3, 7 times 5. Distribute that, and then you combine like terms. Solve this equation. It should not be a big problem. Okay. This has a fraction. You multiply everything by 10. You will not have a fraction anymore. Multiply this by 10. Multiply this by 10. Multiply this by 10. Multiply all of them by 10. You will not have a fraction anymore. Then it's going to be a just a simple linear equation. This one is pretty simple. Distribute 2, combine like terms. Okay, the same thing. Okay, so right here the problem is we have a what? We have a fraction 9 and 18. You want to get rid of the 9 and 18. So the LCD for this one is going to be 18. So you multiply both sides by 18, you get rid of the fraction, then you simplify it. Okay, this one, it has a decimals and also has a big number. Okay, so what you need to do here, you can do two things. You can multiply everything by 100, which you will not have a decimals anymore. Or you can just directly solve it. It's not a problem, okay? So, I'll give you a little bit help on this one. I hope this is big enough. So the problem is 0.18y plus 0.04y plus 5,000 equals 1520. Okay, so the problem is we have a decimals here. Okay, so you can multiply everything by 100. If I multiply this by 100, the decimal is 1, 2, so it's 18y. If I multiply this by 100, it's just a 4. Y plus 5,000. If I multiply this by 100, I just add 2 zeros in the behind. So it's 1, 5, 2, 0, 2 more zeros because multiply by 100. Okay. Then you just need to solve this equation. There's no decimals anymore. You combine like terms. So it's 18y plus 4y plus 20,000 equals 152,000. So combine these two, you have 22y. Subtract 20,000 from both sides. so equals 132,000. So divide both sides by 22. So you get a y equals 6,000. Okay. What you need to do next, you plug the 6,000 back into the equation and see if it's true. If it's true, then this is the right answer. If it's not true, you have to solve it again. I think my answer should be true. Okay. Let's check it. It shows me something. Okay, it says nice work. It means it's right. Okay, so I need to click the next question. Okay, so this one is also a decimal equation. You can multiply everything by 10. You will not have decimals anymore. Then you solve the equation. You solve this one equation. It says indicate whether the equation is conditional, identity, or contradiction. I'll give you a little bit help on what is conditional, what is identity, what is contradiction. So what is conditional? Conditional means it will have one solution. Okay, for example, x plus 5 equals 3. You can solve this equation. So you get x equals, subtract the 5 from both sides, subtract the 5, you get negative 2. Okay, this is a conditional because it has one solution. If it has one solution, it's conditional. Second one is what? Identity. What is identity? Identity means you have infinite many solutions. Example, x plus 1 equals x plus 1. What it means? It means whatever x you put here is always true. If x equals 1, 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 1 equals 2. So it's identity. Whatever x you put here is always true. Okay? So eventually you're going to have, you subtract 1 here, subtract 1 here, subtract x here, subtract x here. So eventually you're going to have 0 equals 0. Or sometimes you got 3 equals 3. So it has nothing to do with x anymore. This equation is always true because they are exactly the same from the left to the right. Exactly the same thing. So this is identity. Third one is contradiction. So what is a contradiction? Contradiction means, I missed a C here. Contradiction. It means there's a low solution. Okay, contradiction it means low solution. Identity means infinite many solution. Conditional one solution. So what is the example of contradiction? For example, x plus 1 equals x plus 2. Do you see? X plus 1 equals x plus 2. Common sense tells you, well, that's not true. Because you put a number here plus 1, the same number plus 2, they're not equal for sure. If you subtract x here, and you're going to have 1 equals 2. So eventually you're going to get a 1 equals 2, and that's not right. So there's no solution. So this case is contradiction. Okay? So you solve this equation. If it has one solution, it's conditional. Infinite many solution, identity. No solution, contradiction. Okay? This is the same idea. You can solve this equation and you do that. Check it out. Solve the formula for indicated variable. So this is solve for B. Solve for equation, it means what? It means isolate that variable. Now we want to solve for B. Basically we want to isolate B. Okay? I think it's pretty simple, but I still give you a little bit of help on this one. It's just one step thing. So P equals B plus A plus 4C. Okay. If you have that, it's solve for B. Solve for B means isolate a B. Okay, I want to isolate a B. Everything else needs to go away. I need to get rid of A. I need to get rid of 4C. How do I get rid of A and 4C? Subtraction, because this is a plus. So I subtract A here, subtract 4C here. Is that okay? No. Because if you subtract a on the right side of the equal sign, you have to do the same thing on the left side of the equal. This is the equality. This is your equal sign here. Okay. So you have, when you have an equation, if you do negative a here minus 4c here, you have to do the same thing on the left side. So you need to subtract a here, subtract 4c here. There's no a or no c on the left side. We cannot combine like terms. Then we just write as p minus a minus 4c equals, the a and a cancel out, 4c cancel, you only have a b here. Okay. So that's how you solve for b, isolated b. Okay, that's your answer. And b equals p minus a, just type in p minus a minus 4c. I don't want to check it because I know it's right and I have to move this the screen again. And this is the same thing you solve for r. You multiply both sides by 2. Okay, let me see. Just one more example. A equals 1/2 f times r plus k. We solve for r. I want to isolate this r. So we need to get rid of them step by step. First thing, 1/2. Whenever you see a fraction, you want to get rid of the denominator. So you multiply both sides by 2. We're going to have 2a. If you multiply this by 2, the 2 goes away. The 1/2 times 2 is 1. So multiply this by 2, got 2a. Multiply this by 2, 1/2 goes away. You only have f, r plus k. Okay. So now I need to get rid of the f because I want the r be isolated. If I want to get rid of the f, I just divided both sides by f. So put an f here. So put an f here. And the f goes away, is just 1. So I'm going to have 2a over f equals r plus k. Then I continue, isolate r, subtract k from both sides, subtract k from here too. So finally, your r equals 2a over f minus k. Okay, so that's how you solve the r. This is the same thing. I will skip this one. You practice as by yourself. Solve for equation for x. Okay. Basically, you need to isolate x. I'll do it real quick. Uh, 2xa, 2 times x minus a plus 4b equals 3x plus a. Okay, so I want to solve for x. The reason I want to give you this example because it has a and b's. Okay, a and b's just you treat it as a constant. So what you have is 2x minus 2a plus 4b equals 3x plus a. Okay, you have two different ways to do it. You can either subtract 2x from here, subtract 2x here, then you have x on this side. You can choose which side you want. Okay, for here, I would like to subtract 2x from both sides. You can subtract 3x like this. It's fine. Okay, it's not necessary to always do subtract 3x. You can subtract 2x and subtract 2x here. Well, the problem is that I want the x goes away. I want this a goes away. So I subtract a here and subtract a here. So on the right hand side, I only have one variable. Your purpose is just whatever that variable you need to solve. Now I want to solve for x, so I just want to have x on one side. On the left side, I don't want any x anymore. So now negative 2a minus a, negative 3a plus 4b. So you can have x equals negative 3a plus 4b. Okay, so this is how you solve it. Well, it's the same thing. You multiply both sides by a minus 2, and you have to follow it out. Okay. and you need to FOIL this and simplify isolate the x. Okay, this is the word problem. Let's look at the word problem. Borrowed, just MR. Borrowed 200 from his brother Junior to pay for books and tuition. Agreed to pay 6 months with simple annual interest at the 6.4%. So how much interest amount to? What amount must pay at the end of the 6 months? So basically, the annual interest formula is okay. So the simple annual interest 6 months is 6.4, and then it's just 6 months. It's not 1 year. Okay. So we first need to do I equals PRT. Okay. Now, for the interest part, this is the interest. P is the amount, principal. Okay, how much money he borrows. R is interest rate. T is the time. Okay, so now principal is 200 multiplied by interest rate 6.4%. Time is 6 months, is not a year, so 6 months over 12 months, that's half a year. So that's your time T. Because that rate, that interest rate is for year rate. Annual rate means year, okay, means 1 year. 6 over 12 is half a year, okay, that's your time. So PRT, and you find it, that whole thing is going to be the first answer for the first one, simple interest, okay. Then you add your interest 200 plus, this is for the first one, you find yourself. Second one, well, you probably have a different question, but you can do the same way. The second one, total amount is your principal plus the interest. Whatever number you got here is going to be the second answer. Okay. 19. Okay, 127, plug 127 into here. So your 127 plug into this formula. 127 minus 32, and then multiply the fraction. It's a simple one. You just plug it in, you find the degree. Last one, you can use the previous formula. Use the previous formula. It says what? It says 88 f degree, the answer as well. Okay, you just need to plug 88 into the formula here, replace f by 88, then it's going to be the answer for this one. Okay, so that's all the homework for section 1.1.